Sometimes we win, sometimes we don't win. Don't give us the third, don't give us your stink eye. We try our best, and we're successful. Come watch our show. Bet Rivers the sponsor. It's time to start, so enjoy the show. Don't give us the third, don't give us your stink eye. We try our best, and we're successful. Come watch our show. Bet Rivers the sponsor. It's time to start, so enjoy the show. Give me picks, give me your insights. I want the bets from Betting Weekly because we win. That is our motto. Sometimes we win, sometimes we.
All right, here we go. Betting Weekly Live here with you on a Thursday. Mike Carver along with Doug Kezirian as we get ready for all of the action tonight. We have Thursday night football, Dallas and Detroit. We have a bunch of NBA games, big night on the ice in the NHL, a little bit of college basketball too. We'll start to look ahead to championship Saturday in college football. Doug, good to see you as always, my man. Once again, not a bad night for us except in the best bet department, but everything else was pretty good.
That's going to happen from time to time. I took the bait and it burned me. But you know what? Like I said, you can't be afraid to lose games. And also, Jalen Johnson was a late scratch for the Hawks, and
Yes.
that's why the line went to 1.5. So that is what it is. But the Shark Tank got there. We should have jumped on that, at least one of us, for best bets. But I will say it's the first time ever that we both missed our best bets.
Yes, and that means we flip it by we both win them tonight. That's all we needed was last night for that to happen. Now we're going to turn things around for this evening. And yes, the Shark Tank, that was a wild one. 7-1, Capitals, smash job there against the Sharks. Betting Week Live, like I said, Betting Weekly Studios, part of the Bet Rivers Network here for Thursday night as we get you rolling. And we have to, of course, start in the NFL because we have the Lions and the Cowboys tonight to kick off week number 14. Make sure you stop at Bet Rivers before you get involved tonight. NFL primetime, first touchdown, second chance bet. Users who opt in on the Bet Rivers app or at betrivers.com will receive a second chance token for any first touchdown wager on each game day of primetime NFL games, which of course would be tonight. See the Bet Rivers app or website for full details and maybe plenty of opportunities for touchdowns this evening with the Cowboys and the Lions, Doug. That's because right now at Bet Rivers, Lions up to 3.5, and look out, 54.5 tonight for this total. Massive.
Yeah, it's really tricky with both those teams, right? Cowboys are a machine to the first half over. We've touched on that a few times, but I think Detroit is just like the ultimate wild card because they go for it so often on fourth down. So you could have 4-minute drives, 6-minute drives into, the red zone and then come away with 0 points, let alone 3, because obviously, turnover on downs. And that I think just makes things really difficult when handicapping the lines. Now, when they face a team similar to them, like Dallas is willing to go up and down, then that changes things. But it's more about when the Lions face like the Chiefs or another team that has more conventional sort of scoring and pacing and offense and defense. But this should be back and forth. So even though we see some some fourth downs become unsuccessful, I still think we can get to the over. So I just think it's a stay away because of those unknowns, and they're so extreme. So maybe it makes sense to do like an alt under and an alt over. Maybe an alt under 46 or something like that, where like a game could die because Campbell goes 0 for 5 again on fourth down. But Detroit's so much better on the turf offensively. Goff is so much better. So to assume fourth downs are going to be unsuccessful, I think there are other opportunities and other scenarios where you want to do the alt unders. I don't think that's going to happen tonight.
Yeah, we'll do this total here first because I know we both are on the same side when it comes to the side for this evening. What worries me about this huge total is what's gotten the Cowboys back in the mix, Doug, the last few weeks is their defense is playing a lot better than, they were getting these high-scoring pinball games in September and October. Since they put Quinn and Williams in there, they're actually stopping some people. And then you have the Lions who aren't going to have St. Brown. They're not, their offense maybe hasn't been as good the past few weeks. That's what worries me from trying to go after this 54.5. But I think maybe just staying away from it or doing the alts, like you said, is the way to go. Because I'm nervous that the Dallas defense is actually decent now.
Yeah. It's going to take some more for me to come around on them, but I do like Quinn Williams a lot up the middle. And the Dallas D has been way more competent. But I think, the Eagles, um, the Eagles were shaky in the second half. They were up 21-0. That offense, we saw them against the Bears struggle. And the Chiefs were a shootout. It's just Dallas got them, and then those big turnovers here and there. So I I like the Lions, but not at 3.5. I liked a -3. I said it on the show yesterday. I'm a little nervous how much I like Detroit. I'm quite surprised the line's 3.5, but typically when teams are on a roll, there's going to be some regression and vice versa. This is the Lions season on the line. I don't think it's a play-in game that some are trying to make it out to be. I think Dallas is still alive in their division. I think the Lions sort of exercise some recent demons and get back in the win column. I just shocked it got to 3.5. I thought I could lay 3. I was a little uneasy laying the 3 to begin with, and I'm not taking the bait with Dallas. I think too much is going right with them. They're feeling themselves. I think Detroit's going to be rocking tonight.
I'm with you. Now, look, I did get the 3 this morning at Bet Rivers. There was the 3s up there when I woke up and got the head off the pillow. And I'm a little surprised, like you, to see it get to this point now. I don't think I would get involved at 3.5. I like where I'm at with 3. And remember this about the Cowboys too, right? This has been at home, these Eagle and Chief games. They have been a different team on the road this year. Now, I know it's not an outdoor element like it was in Chicago or like it was in Denver when they got pasted in those games, but they just don't play the same, Doug, away from Jerry's world. They're not the same team.
No, they're not. And also, just teams are also allowed to get better. I say this in college basketball the most, just because it's such a long season and players are so early in their career. But in the NFL, teams are allowed to get better and teams are allowed to get worse. Okay. The Eagles are not the same teams they were at the beginning of the year, whether that's locker room issues or whatnot. Also, injuries mount. And week to week, where they are in the schedule, and we saw the Rams. I mean, Stafford, you're also allowed to just have bad games, and clearly Stafford had that. But the way the game script went, the Panthers just wore him down and were running all over him in the fourth quarter and really into the third as well. So Dallas is sort of short up the defense. Midseason acquisition of Quinn and Williams. Players are allowed to get better as well. Detroit came in like gangbusters to begin the season, and now Dan Campbell's calling plays. So there's also coaching changes during the season. So we have to really stay in the right frame of mind. I've on our shows, I talked to a modeler, and he really emphasizes the last like 2 or 3 weeks in football, maybe like in the NBA, it's like the last week and a half. His models really skews those numbers because he thinks that's much more of an accurate representation. Whereas other math people will say, "Oh no, you got to use the larger sample size. Go back to last year, which is the baseline in a lot of models." I'm probably in the former. I like looking at things more recently, how things are clicking. With that being said, you got to expect regression always in the NFL. So even though Dallas is coming in here clicking, I'm expecting Detroit to win.
Well, with a game with a total of 54.5, Doug, we should be able to get some props, some
Yeah.
touchdowns, etc., across the board. I'll give you a couple that caught my eye. Now, with no St. Brown, obviously the passing game changes a little bit. Jamison Williams a little high me, almost around 80, down to 78.5. But Jahmyr Gibbs is where I'm going to look. This was 37.5 this morning at Bet Rivers. Now it's up to 39.5 as we're sitting here right now. Didn't have the best game last week against the Packers, but feels like he could be a guy, Doug, that's going to maybe get 2 or 3 more targets because St. Brown's not going to be in there.
Yeah, and he's just such a special guy, right? Like he's when you see some of these guys, whether it's Gibbs or some other players, and they're just running, it looks like a high school recruiting video that they're so much faster than everyone else. But to see Gibbs do that against NFL players is quite remarkable. And the crooked chef,
There it is.
I see it like he does. Just you got to get him the ball in space. And this Dallas defense has been playing better, but let's pump the brakes. Um, And Dallas is better. That's true, but there's also regression even in a smaller sample size.
Steve, Amon-Ra is out and the line hasn't flipped to Dallas. Well, I mean, honestly, Doug, I think that even when this line opened, I mean, I think the perception had to be that he wasn't playing this week off of that
Yeah.
injury. Like, I don't think there
Oh,
was
for sure.
ever anything in this line that said he was going to potentially be out there. This was always a line that did not have St. Brown involved in it.
Correct. I mean, just because that's the normal timeline of these types of situations. So yeah, I mean, I I just think it's the spot. We talk about the spot. I think it favors Detroit. Thus, I think the props are, and Goff is going to play much better at home. We know that's what he does, right? Outdoors Goff is not someone we want to back. Um, Dallas, like, look, Kansas City, Mahomes' deep ball and everything has issues. So giving up 28 points to the Chiefs, nothing to be ecstatic about, but that's not amazing performance, but some of that's on KC's offense that's been struggling. And then the Eagles, that second half, yeah, they created a couple turnovers, but you can't bank on turnovers. And then before that, the Raiders are a hot mess. So is the Dallas defense that great? I mean, almost we should be making fun of them that they gave up 16 points to the Raiders.
And a lot of the prop people have said today that I've seen, Doug, that this Tom Kennedy, who's going to be getting some gas tonight, and apparently he's been with the Lions forever. He's like a practice squad guy. He's 27 and a half. Allegedly, Doug, they say that he's going to get some looks tonight. Tom Kennedy at a low number at 27.
Is that the same guy who's giving you some of these picks? These
No, but
awesome picks?
hey, the under last night in NC State and Auburn got a little dicey there in the
Yeah, well,
second half. But you know what?
not everything can be a rocking chair.
Not everything could be a rocket chair. Touchdowns. I love touchdowns, but there's a problem tonight, Doug. This is the other side of a total being 54 and a half. These touchdown numbers are tough. Javonte for Dallas, 137. Even Pickens, who I love playing every week, plus 112. Lamb plus 110. I mean, Gibbs is minus 278. Montgomery's minus money. Jameson Williams is plus 102. Tough night, Doug, for the touchdowns because the prices just aren't where they usually are for some of these guys.
How do you feel about Ferguson plus 1,200 first touchdown?
You see, there you go. Let's go after that. Let's have some first touchdown fun in this game instead.
Or maybe plus 1,000 for the last touchdown. I feel like he gets a lot of his late in the game.
Go play both sides. A little split it there, Doug. We'll put a little bit on both. A little bit on the
last
first,
touchdown.
a little bit
I
on the
think
last.
Dallas could be trailing if I follow the script. He boxes out really well on the goal line. If it's from the 5-yard line, he turns around on a button hook, and then also he's not afraid to just bulldoze some people and get in there if they throw short the goal line. So he's a beast, man. He's been really good, and he and Dak have a really good relationship too.
Maybe we get a little Tom Kennedy last touchdown garbage time at 17-1. If Tom Kennedy wants to go and get in the mix out there. Lions and Cowboys tonight. And we got a special at Bet Rivers tonight as well. Dak the Halls. Dak Prescott to throw a touchdown in each half. Boosted from plus 120 to plus 175. Obviously, Doug, this plays into if the game is wild and crazy and goes over 54 and a half.
I mean, look, I'm not going to bet my life on the under here. I mean, it could very well, that could be the case. So to have something like this happen and if it ends up being a shootout, sure, let it rip. Dax, I've said at the beginning of the year, one of my favorite season long bets was his over in his passing yards. He's only gone under when he's been hurt. Okay. He's been great. He's a runner up in the MVP a few years ago. Heck, he's, I think, a fourth or fifth favorite right now. Things are clicking with Dak, and I've been really impressed with Schottenheimer. I think he's got this team in the right frame of mind. They have the right sort of maturity across the board. They've blocked out the noise that is Jerry Jones, so they're not worried about any of that. And you see Dak's the third favorite at 14-1. So for him to succeed and thrive here, I'm certainly someone who could see that.
Could absolutely tonight for Dak. You can get that at Bet Rivers this evening. Before we get to the NBA, some other notable wins on the channel. I told you yesterday, Doug, that the morning guys have been crushing it. They have been on fire. Nathan Joy's daily double cash at plus 208. Steve Wiss hit both corner props. prop plays in the Premier League, and they have taken the baton and been running with it with the daily doubles. So nice job by the Betting Weekly Live AM crew, which of course is every morning at 11 a.m. East. You can get that. So very nice job by Nathan and by Steve with that. All right, NBA, 5 games tonight in the association for us. We will start with another NBA TV game tonight. Warriors at the 76ers. Right now, Sixers minus 4.5. This is up to 221 flat is the total.
It's just coming down that Jimmy Butler is not going to play. So that's a little
Ooh.
bit of a setback for Golden State. I was impressed. I haven't watched a ton of Philly games this year, probably because they always have these 4 p.m. starts out west. I was heavy the other night in that game against the Wizards. So I watched it start to finish. I was impressed. I like this kid, Barlow. He's like Matisse Thybulle with a shot. So that's nice. Um, and just that second unit of McCain and Max, he's fantastic. There's a lot to like with the Sixers. I feel like this total's a little low, no? I mean,
Yes.
Steph's out, Butler's out. I get it, but I think for me, it's Sixers or pass. You have to. Philly's going to get up for this game, even though Steph's not there. Not sure what else the Warriors can do in this game if Butler's also going to miss the game. So this number feels a little cheap, even though the number has come up.
It kind of does, low 220s. Because even these guys, we've talked a few times about the secondary and third level guys for the Warriors. They do like to run when they get in there, Doug. Those other guys on their team. So maybe we can get a little bit of that tonight and get over that 221. But I'm with you on the Sixers, especially with all those guys being out of the lineup. Elsewhere tonight, second leg of the New Orleans back-to-back. So the T-Wolves and the Pelicans played. And I don't know how much I like these. These came around during COVID, same team, same city, twice in 3 days. But the Timberwolves are doing this. They had to play overtime against the Pelicans the other night. So they run it back, minus 11.5, 234 for the total this evening.
This is interesting. Game 1, Minnesota was down the entire game, strong fourth quarter, and then won by 7 in overtime. I tend to think that in this scenario, it's specific, but it's this scenario, New Orleans is the team you want to bet on first quarter and for the game. I think also kind of matches with how the T-Wolves have been this year, sort of playing with their food, unreliable. Remember, they burned us a couple weeks ago, up 10 with 3 minutes to go at Sacto. So I like Pelicans plus 3.5 in the first quarter. I think they're going to play harder. I think the T-Wolves lack some maturity in these situations, and I think 11.5 is too many points. Problem is the T-Wolves could flip the switch and just blow them out. Could take like a monster third quarter, hang up 40 something on them, and all of a sudden. But that's the every bet you make, you run the risk, right? In these types of games, when you have a double-digit spread, you have the potential to get rolled, and just talent wins out, and you just never have a shot with the Pelicans. You also have a chance to one quarter, like a fourth quarter, just pull away. It's been 6 points all game, and then they lose by 13. And then you have another one where it's like, you're within striking distance between 15 and 8, 15 and 8, and then it just lands 12 or better. So you have those types of scenarios. So yeah, but I just think you also have the scenario where Minnesota barely ekes out a win or even loses outright.
You do have that. I just saw that on the bottom of the screen in the chat box. Of course, you can always get involved here on Betting Weekly Live. Nick Nurse, a better coach than Steve Kerr. I saw that come across. Look at that. Philly should win this. I agree. Nick Nurse over Steve Kerr if you're hiring a coach, Doug?
Yeah, it's tough. I think Kerr's been a great fit in Golden State. He won titles because of the players he had, and obviously Nick Nurse won a title the year he had Kawhi and didn't win when he didn't. But I think Nurse is a lifer from the G League and everything. I mean, he knows what he's doing, and I think X's and O's, it makes sense. But make no mistake, Kerr took a good offense and made it like all-time great when he won his first year
Yeah.
with the Warriors. So give them a lot of credit. Both are really good coaches, but maybe I'd give the nod to Nurse. I don't know. I wouldn't fixate on the coaching mismatch here because whoever is better, it's only by a little bit.
Next, let's go to Brooklyn. The Nets, another win last night. I think they've won 2 in a row now, outright. They won in Chicago against the Bulls. Now they come home to see the Utah Jazz, who, of course, 7-13 on the season. The Jazz will be doing the New York double tonight in Brooklyn, tomorrow night at the Garden against the Knicks. Jazz minus 5.5. road favorites, 231 flat is the total here. Should the Jazz, as much as we love them, Doug, be laying 5.5 against anybody?
Are 1-7 on the road this year. So they've clearly been padding the stats at home where they're 6-6. And by the way, they just finished themselves a home 2-game home set, right?
Right.
With the Rockets. And they lost, got blown out in game 1. They won game 2 by 10. So hopefully the Pelicans will face a similar script, although game 1 wasn't a blowout, but they did lose. In terms of Utah, I love them. You know I do. Um, they have depth. They come at you in waves. I watched the Nets game yesterday. I lost money on the Nets game yesterday. They played out of their minds, and the broadcast team was talking about them. I don't know. Claxton, these guys are like pretty good, some of these guys. So, but they're overall, they're bad, and they obviously don't play a ton of defense. I just think the Bulls stink right now. The Bulls are really bad. I mean, no Kobe White. I mean, Nets should not be winning 2 in a row. That's embarrassing. But they beat the Hornets and then they beat the Bulls in Chicago. I think the Jazz do take care of business here. I really do, but I can't lay 5.5. I'd lay 3.5, but not 5.5.
I know they started 2-13, I believe, the Nets. They're 3-3 in their last 6. They've actually won. They've maybe Fernandez finally took him a little while, finally got him going. Give me the 5.5 at home on the back-to-back. Let's
Okay.
go. Give me 5.5. And I know that this Noah Clowney, who all of a sudden was on fire last night. I know that 3 number has been bumped through the roof now for Noah Clowney tonight, right, Doug? A lot of
I
threes.
mean, I was eyeing his props for 2. I mean, he's been a machine. He's had at least 2, and last night he was Kevin Durant. So I just can't get there back to back. There's other bets on the board I think have a better expected value.
I think I saw you tweet that, right? This guy, I think he's KD out there playing against
I
the
mean, it was
Bulls.
insane. It was insane.
Elsewhere this evening, the Lakers in Toronto against the Raptors tonight. Now, of course, the Lakers are going. I know they're playing the Celtics tomorrow night. So I was wondering, Doug, if they were going to have some guys sit tonight, particularly LeBron. But I see it's Luka who's on the out list tonight for the Lakers as they are getting 3 in Toronto.
He's in Slovenia for the birth of his second child, I
Oh,
believe,
good
not
for
his
him.
first. So yeah, I guess they want him to be born in Slovenia. So they want to physically be there rather than in the States. Although isn't it funny? You're like, oh, the Lakers got back-to-back road games. They got to sit someone. It's like, or they could
That's
just play both games.
that's
Like,
today's
or
NBA. That's
yeah.
today's NBA.
Hopefully
Doug.
Austin Reeves and LeBron play both. I don't know if Luka's expected back for tomorrow, but he's obviously out tonight, as you mentioned. My Raptors, I think I have to roll with them. I hate that Ingram's on this team. He's helped them, but they do lack efficiency. But I love Scotty Barnes. I think Reeves is going to go off like he always does. So if someone wanted to play some Reeves props, that can only be defended one way, the overs. He's going to have a monster game. Question is, are they going to trade him for Giannis? I don't think so, but
Mm.
over 28.5 has my attention for Reeves, but the Lakers have a really good chemistry, really well balanced. This is be interesting. I think this is the first time LeBron's playing no Luka since LeBron came back later in the
Yeah.
season. I wonder if the chemistry here and LeBron's going to try to take over without Luka, but they really should just be running things through Austin Reeves.
Slovenia to Boston, Doug. I mean, it's just a hop, skip, and a jump. I mean, I'm sure he can find a way to get himself there. They'll get a nice private plane, fast plane to go from
Yeah, gas
Slovenia
up
to
the bird.
Boston. It's not like he's got to go to Utah. I mean, it's much closer. They should be able. Noah Clowney, Alabama hoops legend. That he is, Noah Clowney. And the other game tonight, the 5th and last game, the Celtics are in DC against the Wizards. They are 10-point road favorites, but they do not have Jaylen Brown tonight. 230.5 is the total.
So the Wizards are really bad. We bet against them. The last game was the best bet. Celtics have beaten them by 29 in their one meeting. I don't think I'll ever be able to bet on the Wizards this year. They're really terrible. I watched them, loose balls, everything. McCollum's good. Other than that, they're a disaster. So you mentioned no Brown. I don't know. I mean, he's been really good for most of the season. What do you do if you're Boston? Like, where are these points going to come from? Do you start Simons and he goes off? Because the Celtics have a couple guys that don't really account for offense, right? With Kada and Jordan Walsh. So if you don't have Brown, you got to put a volume scorer in the starting lineup. It's not going to be Hauser. It's not going to be Minot. It's going to be Anthony Simons. So I think Simons goes off because Simons is a guy who really salivates at these types of opportunities. So if he's getting the green light, so to speak, without Jaylen Brown in the game and then bumped up to the starting lineup, that's a guy who I think is going to go off. So his prop of 16.5 feels real low,
Real low
real
tonight.
low.
You know what? Like you said, you don't really want to make a habit out of betting on the Washington Wizards, but I think if there was ever a night, Doug, that they could pull me in,
Oof.
it might be tonight here against the Celtics. You never know. So we'll see if I could decide on that by the time they tip
Best
off
bet?
this evening. No, 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 no. Does Rui wake up tonight? I'm assuming we're meeting Hachimura there from Frankie the Fixer. We get a little Rui tonight, Doug?
I didn't realize he was asleep. I mean, is he like? Isn't he like a role player? And by waking up, I mean,
Well,
you mean does he go off without
yes.
Luca? Maybe. I think he's. I think he's a perfect sort of complement to guys like Luca, Reeves, and LeBron because he doesn't demand the ball. He just kind of waits for the ball to find him, and he's always sort of ready. He's huge, can shoot, can play on the blocks a little bit, pound the glass. I really like his game and how it fits.
There you go. NBA tonight. 5 games. Big Friday night we'll have tomorrow. Of course, always a huge Friday night slate around the hardwood. All right, hockey. Thursday, you get the big night in hockey. 10 games this evening
Ooh.
in the
Ooh.
NHL. Yeah, baby. Let's go. First one that stuck out to me. We'll go to Ottawa, Doug, where the Rangers in town to take on the Senators. Rangers, of course, they got the win the other night against Dallas at home. They kind of showed me a little something, Doug, in that third period. Maybe the Rangers season might start to turn a little bit here. They showed some big effort, big comeback against the Stars. And remember, they're 11-4-1 on the road this year. So they've been pretty good away from the Garden. Ottawa's coming home after a long 6-game road trip. So usually you can maybe catch them a little sleep, a team like that, a little sleepy coming back west to east. So this was plus 120 earlier, down to plus 108 for the Rangers at Bet Rivers. I'm going to take the Rangers tonight, Doug. A little money line for them.
So yeah, you mentioned the Sens coming back from a
7.
game road trip. Now in NBA, they call that the Malinsky special. You want to fade that first home game. Is that the case here?
Yes, I'm fading the first home game after a long road trip. That is what I am doing with the Sens, combined with the Rangers' good road record and showing maybe their best signs of life all year in that third period against Dallas on Tuesday night. So those are the kind of
Okay.
the things that I'm mixing that whole ball together for the New York Rangers in Ottawa this evening. The other one for me, we've got a couple here. Toronto and Carolina. Toronto's been good to us this year. They are the best over team in the NHL. 18-8 now to the over. Them and Montreal, although Montreal couldn't get there last night. But they are the best over team. And I did not know this, Doug, till I had to look today. But Carolina is actually in the top 10 for the most overs, too. They're 14-11 to the over. So end of a long trip for the Maple Leafs. They've played pretty well on it. They've won 3 of their 5 games. I think we get some pucks in the net tonight. Over 6.5 with the Leafs and the Hurricanes in Carolina.
So part of the Maple Leafs being where they are in terms of number one on the most overs is what was it, 12 straight overs recently? But
Yes.
since then, it's been kind of mixed bag, no?
It's been a little bit more mixed bag for the Leafs as of late. Now, they did have a couple on this road trip. They had a 7-2 game in Pittsburgh on Saturday night that they did play. Their other game, they had one other pretty good over. They did have the under in Florida the other night. 5-2 with the Canadians, 7-2 with the Penguins. So 4-2 with the Caps. They were right on the number there. So they've been hanging around it, Doug, on this road trip. Been hanging around these 6 and 7.
Okay. All
So I
right.
think we can get there tonight. Carolina comes at you in waves. Obviously, they always good to score a bunch of goals. Wohl's in net tonight for the Leafs. So hopefully we can get the over there. And the other one is Minnesota. The Wild tonight in Calgary against the Flames. Minnesota has won 10 of their last 12. They've been excellent over the last couple of weeks. The Flames, we've picked on them a lot. They're one of the worst teams in hockey so far this year. Wild are minus 124 this evening. They just had a 1-0 win in Edmonton the other night. We're going to take the Wild tonight. Doug, a little bit of a price, 124, but I think the Wild are the right side.
So is it a little bit of a price? Because I was going to ask
Probably
you,
not.
why is this line so cheap if, Minnesota's as good as their record indicates and Calgary's as bad as their record indicates?
I think that's just Minnesota being on the road. What would
Really,
this
is
be?
that
What would this be if
okay?
Minnesota was at home? If Minnesota was at home tonight, is it 150? Is it 160? Is it probably more in that range? I think that's kind of just them being on the road, and they've been on the road for a little bit. They're on this Western Canada trip, which it can always be a little tough. Not as tough for them. They're in Minnesota,
Right.
but
Okay.
we'll go. I like the Wild tonight, Doug, in that
All
one
right.
for this evening. Pittsburgh is in Tampa tonight. Colorado and the Islanders. The Islanders have now played 9 out of 10 to the under so far this year. And Colorado is one of the best under teams in the NHL so far this year. Maybe
Okay,
an under.
now we're talking.
Maybe an under 6.5 for the
How can
Islanders.
how can you not?
And the Islanders have had we talked about it the other night. They've had problems scoring on this homestand. The Avalanche are great at shutting teams down. I think we can go under here with the Isles and the Lanch. And I will give you a very rare. I am gonna play this tonight. This is more just hard overhead probably. But Brock Nelson returning to the island, was with the Islanders for like 10 years, was traded there at the trade deadline a year ago. He's very emotional this morning at the morning skate, being back on the island. Plus 230 happy meal bet for Brock Nelson to score in his return against his old team. We have some fun with these once in a while, Doug.
Okay. I got a bet for you in this game.
Ooh,
Islanders team total,
okay.
regulation only,
Ooh,
2.5.
okay. I'm in. Under?
Under.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're giving you, there it is.
$1.24.
$1.24. I like it.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about the OT bogus, the shootout, none of that. Like,
Nope.
the final score is 3-2. No,
Regular
just
time. The regular
2
time.
goals.
And you get yourself it. Let's say they do somehow play a 2-2 game going over. You're good to go. You're under the 2.5.
Cash in. Now, what
Regulation.
about some correct scores here?
Corrects. You want to have some fun tonight. Look at this. Colorado.
4-2, Colorado, 4-2, 13-1.
13-1. How about 4-1 and 4-2? About 4-1 and 4-2.
So it's plus 1,200 and plus 1,300. So naturally, you're getting about 6.25 to 1 on either final score.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I'm in. Let's go. And can we get Brock Nelson as one of those goals for Colorado?
Yeah. Oh, there you
While
go.
we're-
A little cherry on top.
While we're there, can we
Same
also
game parlay it. Why not?
you could throw that in for us? Nashville is in Florida against the Panthers. Panthers have been awful lately. They're last in the Atlantic. I mean, we might have to look soon, Doug, if there's a number for the Panthers. That the books haven't. They're not budging yet. They're still 9-1, even though they're last in the division. They're not. They haven't budged on Florida's price to win the Stanley Cup. So they're not fooled. They're doing what they did last year.
Why is that? Yeah, because they just saw it.
I think that last year you were able, around this time of year when Florida did the same thing, they basically didn't care. October, November, December, started to turn it on in January. It got down in the 11, 12, 13-1 range. You could have got the Panthers to win the cup. And then what happened, Doug? They had to pay all those out because they won again. So I think that they're going to be a little bit not as quick to be lowering down the Florida Panthers Stanley Cup price just because they've been in a funk the entire first 3 months of the season.
So they're plus 900 right now. So are there any teams that are off to good starts that have long odds still because they're not buying it? So the flip side of that?
I would say the group that we could put into that would be, looking at it quick, Minnesota at 40-1 was off to a pretty good start. Anaheim at 50-1. Nice job last
Anaheim,
night.
first place right now in the Pacific.
They're in
There's
first
your
place, and they're 50-1 to go ahead and win. I would even, I like the way Detroit's played. They probably need another piece, but they're 100-1, and I like the way Detroit's played over the first couple of months. But I know we talked about this when the season started, Doug. Like, I think it's so hard to crack that top 5 or 6. Colorado, Carolina, Florida, Vegas, Tampa's in there now, and Edmonton. Like, it's and Dallas. It's so hard to get through those teams. You have to get through a bunch of them in order to win the cup. But there's
Sort
some
of.
big
Sort of.
numbers.
So when the playoffs start,
Yes.
what are some of the long odds of the teams that are like the 6th seed in each conference?
13 to 20 in that area.
So Anaheim 50-1 and they're in first place. Like, how much are they going to tumble in the standings?
I agree with you on a team like Anaheim. I think Anaheim is a play. Like if they keep this up and they're going to be one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the Pacific. Let's just say not even winning the division. Like, let's just say they're in that top 3 in the Pacific. What are they going to be opening round of the playoffs? They're not going to be 50 because they're in the playoff. They're in there. They're in the mix. They have a coach who's won cups, understands how, that's a big element that's been added to them this year. If there was a team out of all those ones that are 25 or longer, 30 or longer, I think the Ducks is a nice pocket stasher. Are they going to win the cup? Probably not. Could they give you a ride to the Western Conference Finals and you got a 50 sitting there, with them against, say, an Edmonton or a Dallas or something like that? They might. The NHL's crazy.
And people were mocking me when I said bet Pavia 80-1, 20-1. And I still think he's going to win. I still think there's value on him right now.
Maybe we almost could have got to see him again this week, right? Didn't I see that story today that Vandy was scrambling to try play another game this weekend?
No, really?
I saw that tweeted out. I'll find that when we get to the college football, Doug, and I'll see who put that out into play. So 10 games in the NHL tonight. One more thing. The Blackhawks are playing late night. They have been they're on a run of I think 5 straight covering the puck line. Now they don't win, but they've been losing by 1 every single night. They are getting a goal and a half, but it's minus 155 tonight. It's not as good as it was the other night in Vegas. A little bit more juice there for the Blackhawks tonight. But they have covered the puck line in 5 in a row as they head to LA against the Kings. If you want a late night parlay piece. NHL, 10 games this evening. Of course, if you like what you see here on Betting Weekly Live, make sure you subscribe to the Betting Weekly Studios channel on YouTube. You can, of course, check out all of our other shows on there, including, make sure you are ready to go for this. Tomorrow, noon East, a very special Betting Weekly Live World Cup draw reaction show. Nigel Seeley, Dan Roebuck, and Steve Wiss as they react to the World Cup draw live as it's announced. That is happening tomorrow. Sharing futures thoughts as they go. Tomorrow, noon East, I will be in because once that draw comes out, I will be looking for my World Cup futures as they announce that draw. So nice job. Make sure you're there with Nigel, Dan, and Steve tomorrow. Betting Weekly Live World Cup draw reaction show here on the channel. All right, Doug. College football, it is championship week, as we know, across the country. We have all of these games. We'll do the Friday night games, obviously, tomorrow. Before while we're doing the Friday edition of Betting Weekly Live. But let's do some of the Saturday games here. And I did want to tell you, this is from Thamel. I told you I was going to dig for this quickly before I find it. Pete Thamel earlier today. Number 4, Vandy explored the possibility of playing an exempt 13th game this weekend as a way to give one final showcase for the college football playoff. There was interest from the team, university officials, the athletic department, and the coaching staff. Ultimately, the operational and legislative requirements, along with last-minute scheduling constraints, could not support the game. That would have been fun, Doug. That sounds nice to do. And I saw somebody bring up the example during COVID. Didn't like BYU and Coastal Carolina get together in like 48 hours and go play a game? So it would have probably been good. And if you were a team like, say, Miami or Notre Dame, I know Notre Dame would never do it, but if you team like Miami or somebody else, that would have been fun to get that this weekend if that would have came to fruition.
Feels like it's like a Thanksgiving, right? Don't a bunch of like high school buddies get together and play?
Yeah.
Like maybe it's kind of one of those turkey games.
That's
I
it.
love the concept of it. I just don't know if this is a precedent we want to set. But then again, it feels like very, I don't know, barstooly. Like, hey, let's go play. What's wrong? You chicken? Um, but as long as like teams, I mean, they are in like top shape, and the end of the season, they're ready to rock. And frankly, I think like those teams right around 11 or 10 to 15, 17 sort of could all be interchanged in a lot of ways. I think these conference championship weekends, they should do away with it. There should be play-ins. This is all a
Yes.
mess. But I in terms of this weekend slate, Carver, I'm a little disappointed. I don't have like I don't love anything, right? Like I know a guy who
Yeah.
says he loves the card. I'm like, there's like 7 games. How do you love
th-
the card?
There's not exactly. There's
I
only
like I have a firm
five
opinion
games.
on everything. I just don't know if I'm gonna pull the trigger on any of these.
Well, there, like you say, there's 5 games on Saturday. 4 of them have some juice. Then we got the MAC, which we'll get to at the end if you're interested. Let's start with the biggest one, which is number 1 versus number 2. Indiana and Ohio State. This is Saturday night in Indy at Lucas Oil. Ohio State now -4 at Bet Rivers. 47.5 is the total. I'll say this, Doug. I know Ohio State's the better team. I guess. I mean, they've got so much talent. Their defense is unbelievable. There's one thing that I kind of look at in this game, and I only am there because of how Indiana played at Oregon. And you brought this up the other day. There was some things in that game, a pick six and other stuff. In the big grand scheme of things, what does this game mean to Ohio State? They didn't play in this game last year. They won the national championship anyway. I mean, obviously you want to win the Big Ten title, but how many of those do they have in Columbus hanging on the wall? How would Signetti feel to be able to pump his chest and run around and say, I've only been here 2 years and I already brought the first Big Ten championship since the mid 60s to Bloomington? Like, I feel like in the big grand picture, this game means so much more to Indiana, but to the kids, they're not thinking of any of that stuff.
I don't know. I don't know. We get enamored and fixated. I do think Michigan was like a big goal of theirs, and it
Yeah.
was the first time this senior class has beaten Michigan. Now, that also means this senior class has not won a Big Ten title.
Mm,
And more than the Big Ten title, probably they just want to stay undefeated, right? There's some pride there. And I'm reluctant to bet against a team that's like 15-2 or something like that in their last 17 games ATS. So I'm just really scared. You see it right there on the graphic, 10-1-1 ATS this season. And that one, I think was it Purdue? Somebody backdoor covered at the end of the game.
right.
But they haven't played a lot of games with a single digit spread. They did against Texas, and then the Michigan game I did think closed 9, but all in all, this is a very different sort of ATS result than all these others when they're laying 20 and 30 and whatnot. I lean Hoosiers, but I really like Indiana first quarter. I think they're going to be up for it.
Mm.
All the reasons you just mentioned. I think Zignetti and these guys are going to be flying around, um, amped up, and I think you're just getting some line value with 1.5. And sand started a little shaky last week. Now that was outdoor, cold elements, big house, uh, definitely different situation than controlled environment here in Indy. But I think the Hoosiers are going to be ready to rock offensively as well, and I like the plus 1.5.
Indiana in the first quarter. Look, I think for me, Doug, like I said, I would really just be hanging my hat on that big picture stuff. Now, as Frankie the Fixer puts in there, there is another element in play at this game on Saturday night. Listen, both these teams are going to be in the college football playoff. Both of these teams are probably going to have a bye in the college football playoff. There is the Heisman element with Sayin and Mendoza in terms of those guys going mano a mano. And as I kind of made the joke with you the other day, if it's a 13-10 low scoring game and neither does anything, can we get the live third camera on Diego Pavia, his mom, and the whole family partying as he potentially wins the Heisman?
I think there's a chance he's the favorite by kickoff, Pavia. Mendoza makes sense. He's got a good story as well, and his stats are there as well. But none of these guys have been blowing me away with stats. I mean, I just love all these Ohio State fans. Like, oh, Sayan's the completion percentage. Like, well, whatever. He's Stetson Bennett. He's a good version of Stetson Bennett. I I don't think I believe the stat padding. I just think they're going to be focused on winning the game and everything. I think they probably believe Sayan's done enough that if they win the game, he's going to win the Heisman. I don't believe it, but they probably think that. And Steven, I hate to break it to you, buddy, but you're not right. Like Mendoza has not already won the Heisman. And I just challenge people to think about why they think that and how much are the betting markets influencing what they think is the race. And the reason I say that is there's no real, straw polls or anything like this. The Heisman is the most fickle betting market there ever was. And if you look at the small sample size straw polls this week, Pavia is like cleaning up. So I'd be careful thinking it's an automatic and it's done deal.
Oh, I don't think it's automatic at all. I'm with you in in the Pavia thoughts. I think Pavia is winning it, and I think you have seen more people, Doug, start to make the claims and saying like, if Pavia played for one of the 5 to 10 blue bloods of college football or biggest programs in college football, how big of a favorite would he be right now? If that was the case, how big of a favorite would he be if he wasn't playing for Vanderbilt? He was playing somewhere else, Ohio State, Alabama, you
All
name it.
Mendoza's done, and he's had a nice story, and obviously they've had the best season in school history. But they went 11-1 last year, okay, with a different quarterback.
Right.
So Vandy last year went 6-6, and at no point this season, watching Julian Sand, did I think I'm watching the most outstanding player in college football. Pretty much, I never thought that with Mendoza. The big game, Oregon, pick six. Thanks for playing. Oh, the touchdown drive against uh, Penn State. Yeah, you were over 2 touchdown favorites though. You should have played better during the game as well. If he won, I think it's defensible, especially if he plays well in this game. But there's no guarantee that happens because Ohio State's got a really good defense. And Pavia, like they were 6-6 last year. I don't think Sand or Mendoza could have done any of that with Vandy this year. So if you swapped all these, um, I just like Pavia could have. There's a handful of quarterbacks that could have done what Sand did. Now that doesn't mean he's a bad QB or anything silly like that, but we're splitting hairs for the Heisman vote. I think Pavia is going to win, and don't forget that the two Midwest quarterbacks can cannibalize one another,
Yeah.
especially if it's a close game. And then the regional bias that Pavia is going to get. I've been doing this betting on awards markets and draft markets for a long time. My track record speaks for itself. I think Pavia is going to win.
Let's go. Getting involved right there. All right, SEC title game Saturday afternoon in Atlanta. Georgia and Alabama, round 2 for them. Remember, Alabama went to Athens back in September and knocked off the Bulldogs. Georgia's -2.5, totals 47.5. I like Georgia, Doug.
I do too. Give Bama credit. They have, I think, the most impressive win all season, right, at Georgia. So give them credit. Bama's going to lead the first quarter. We know that. And then Georgia is going to, I think, win the game. I just feel like Bama doesn't have the dominance that they've had in years past, whether it be running, things like that. The problem is Georgia's pass defense is weak, but Ty Simpson hasn't been that strong. Just look at Bama's last month of the season. And that's where I kind of mock the committee. They're just babbling. Like the conversion, really gutsy call against Auburn. Auburn's 5-7. Okay,
Yeah.
Bama wasn't that good against Oklahoma. Sorry. So let's go back. Let's go back to who they've beaten the last month, and it's been really shaky, right? Um, Eastern Illinois doesn't count. They lost to Oklahoma. Great, LSU in the backup. South Carolina game they should have lost. So it's been a real shaky run, and just thinking like, oh, really, Bama's playing well. Let's move them up in the rankings. It's so not true, but I think Georgia's on a different level right now. The problem is their defense is loose, so I like the over quite a bit at 47.5. Bama's pace is slow, but I think the over is a banger here. That's the one thing I like on that fast track in Atlanta.
Never, you could always talk me into POINTS, points, Doug. I can always be talked into up, and away. And I would love to see that at the SEC game on Saturday.
Georgia's excellent in the red zone offensively.
Excellent. Big 12 game will be early on Saturday. That's a noon East kickoff at Jerry's World between BYU and Texas Tech. We discussed this game briefly the other day. It was 12.5. I told you I like Texas Tech. I don't think I've gotten off of it, Doug. I'm not like 100% there yet, but I'm still pretty much getting closer to the corner that I'm going to go with the Red Raiders in this game.
I don't want any part of BYU. Beginning of the week, I started to think, yeah, maybe because the game was in Lubbock before, but Texas Tech just dominated that game. They own the trenches. The BYU's good, though. I mean, that's the thing. I think it's just a really bad matchup for them. I'm going to go under 17.5 points for the Cougs. I think they're obviously correlated. Red Raiders covering and then the team total. Again, this is a game I'm not playing. I have a firm opinion, but this is why I don't love a lot of games. It's just because I think BYU goes under their team total. But they're going to be right there, man. I think they should be ranked a little higher. I think they should be ahead of Notre Dame. They're 11-1, and look at 8-1. You know how many times the Sharps have been trying to fade them?
Yep.
They're 8-1 ATS. Sorry, 9-3 ATS. So so just be careful out, trying to fade this team all the time.
And they've been so good to me this year too, which is why it hurts me if I have to do this, Doug. Because
Right?
BYU has been really good to me all year. I have not tried to fade them. I have been hanging around on the good side with them in most of these games. I even took them the one, that Texas Tech game in Lubbock where they got thrashed. Night game, ACC title game, Duke and Virginia. This is at Bank of America in Charlotte, home of the Panthers. Virginia now -4, 3.5 earlier in the week at Bet Rivers, 57.5 the total. Lots of storylines here, Doug. 7-5 Duke trying to win the ACC.
Yeah, plenty of conspiracy theories as well. One is the ACC needs a team in the playoff, so Virginia's going to get every call and win this
Yeah.
game. The flip side is if Duke wins, committee might bump Notre Dame because out of the picture because they need an ACC team, so might as well put Miami as an at-large. I love the fact that we have 6-7 days between games. Teams, people need all the time to come up with fill time with the conspiracy theories. I don't know enough about this Duke squad. I thought they were pretty good in some games that I watched this year. Virginia seems like the right play, but I'm not in a rush to lay 4 points here with the Who's.
Yeah, look, I know they like you said, they destroyed him in the first meeting a couple weeks ago. I mean, they outgained him, and the score doesn't even look. The score is closer than the game actually was. They beat him up. I believe in conspiracy theories with these suits that run college football, so it wouldn't stun me if Virginia does get every call under the sun on Saturday night. I don't like that other one that you threw out there, Doug. I don't need that whole Duke wins and that's going to push Notre Dame out. I don't want to hear that, Doug. We want Notre Dame in. Don't do that to me. We got a lot of Notre Dame tickets. We need to get them into the tournament.
Okay. Well,
Any interest in the MAC title game on Saturday between Western Michigan and Miami of Ohio?
yeah,
You
not
love
really.
action.
Obviously, DeQuan Finn's not there for Miami of Ohio. Western's going to probably win, and I think that feels like the right play for me.
-2 for the Broncos right now in that game with a 43.5 at Bet Rivers. That's a noon kick. That's in Detroit at Ford for the MAC title game. Of course, we will do all of tomorrow's games on Betting Weekly Live, including Boise and UNLV. Got a little Mountain West. And the biggest game for tomorrow night, North Texas and Tulane. Winner going to be in the college football playoff. Both coaches have already taken other jobs, but they will coach tomorrow night. So lots surrounding the Mean Green and the Wave for Friday night. Anything in college hoops before we get to the best bets, Doug? Of course, we don't have as many high-profile games like we did the last few nights with the SEC ACC Challenge. There's really, I don't even think you have a ranked team playing tonight, do you? I don't even think you get that. In college hoops tonight. It's a pretty, we got a lot of big West games. Everybody loves when Riverside and Irvine get together out there.
One late night on the island, too.
UC Davis and Hawaii late night. We love bailout blowouts. Anything for you in college basketball, men or women?
Late night Hawaii hoops is just a treat during the week for anybody who's a night owl. A little midnight Eastern tip. What more could you want? In this world, if you go down to the kitchen, get a snack, you can also get some little late night. Hawaii's been pretty good, right? I'd lay the 9 before I took it, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would too. Hawaii has been pretty good so far. I know you're going to go to the women's game, so I'm going to give you the one men's game that I saw. And it's like last night. And by the way, good job me sniffing out Vermont as they got hammered in Corvallis by the Beavers.
Maybe the line wasn't that fishy.
Maybe the line wasn't that fishy for them. But this one caught my eye. Bobby Moe, Robert Morris, one of the better teams in the Horizon last year, visiting Green Bay, who stinks, right? Isn't this Gottlieb's team, Green Bay? They're not very good.
I was going to say, yeah.
Now, this was -1.5 for Bobby Moe earlier at Bet Rivers. Now they've got Green Bay -1.5. Now, I am not into the ins and outs of the Bobby Moe program. I love the coach Toole, who's been there forever, gotten him in the tournament a lot when they were back in the America East. It's got to be Bobby Moe tonight on the road at Green Bay. Let's go. I guess they're the dogs now, Doug. I'm taking them.
We'll say Green Bay's covered 3 straight. They've been pretty good. 4 straight, I want to say, actually. I think I wasn't sure. I'm not sure about the Yale game, but they've been pretty good. They only lost at the barn in Minnesota by 7, which is what Indiana did last night, right? They were road chalk and lost outright. So I think the Phoenix might be a little bet on team this year. He had a lot of injuries last year. They were absolutely horrendous in terms of overall, but they closed the year strong. Bobby Moe had more athleticism last year. I think Green Bay got him, if I remember. I was getting involved in a lot of Horizon games. I'd be careful fading this team. I think he knows what he's doing.
Bobby Moe's got a big OT win against Drake on their resume this year. Bobby Moe. Hey, everyone loves. I like this. We get the Horizon and the Big West already playing conference games before Christmas. This is great. Utah State versus South Florida tonight as well. Likes the Aggies with that. Give me what do we got? Big game in the women's tonight, right, Doug? Big game in women's.
Well, there's a few games. It is ladies' night in basketball tonight. So you have UNC and Texas. That's a nice top 15 matchup. But the one I'm going to is with the Lady Tigers. We've bet on them before. LSU, 5th team in the country. They are laying 16.5 at Duke. Duke unranked. Kara Lawson, the coach. Things just haven't gone well there. LSU's 8-0 this year. They've scored over 100 in all 8 games. They're a wagon in a lot of ways. Duke is 3-5. They just got blown out at home by UCLA. Sorry, in a tournament game by UCLA, who was playing without Lauren Betts, who might be the #1 pick. So it was a strong performance for the Bruins, and they still rolled this Duke team. I think they're going to win by 30 plus, this LSU team.
Wow.
So this is already, we're best bet time anyway. So I'll say it's my best bet. This number moved. It was bet open 13, got bet up to 20. A syndicate that's not very good took the plus 20. So we're back down to 16.5. I think that's going to be the margin at halftime.
And that, like you said, does lead it right in. That will be Doug's best bet for tonight. LSU minus the 16.5. I will go to the NFL game, and I'm going to take Gibbs receiving over 39.5, which, there's a couple ways we could get here. A lot of volume with some extra targets with St. Brown out. He could bust a 45-yarder off on one catch. So we have a couple of ways and avenues for Gibbs to get over 39.5 against the Cowboy D. Remember, on the receiving side of things. So the daily double for Betting Weekly Live tonight on a Thursday. LSU minus 16.5. Gibbs over 39.5 yards receiving. Plus 250 at Bet Rivers tonight. It is time to get back on the horse. The AM guys have been killing it, and we want to join in on the party for the best bets. We've been doing good with a lot of stuff, like Doug always says. We've been getting a lot of stuff, but we want to get back on the horse here and get a daily double back in the corner, Doug, going into the weekend.
Well, I got the late night tip, 9 Eastern here with my game. So hopefully you get yours before the first half, and then we can just kind of rock and share it.
First quarter, let's get Gibbs. Little screen right out of the backfield. Bang. Right going through it. Sonic with a touchdown. 60-yarder for Gibbs. There you go. Best bets. Let's go, Steve from Lynn. You got him for us. Calling the bank now, putting everything on the Lady Tigers. Frankie the Fixer is with you this evening. All right, Doug, we'll be back tomorrow for a big Friday Betting Weekly Live. Of course, we will do all the NFL going into the weekend. We will do those college football games for tomorrow night. There's a lot of NBA tomorrow. There's a bunch of NHL. There's college basketball. I mean, what more could you want as we get together? 4 p.m. East, 1 p.m. Pacific for a Friday Betting Weekly Live. Of course, Betting Weekly Studios, part of the Bet Rivers Network. Mike Carver, Doug Kezirian. Have a great night, and we will see you back here tomorrow.